Joining me now is Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. And, Senator, I want to go through it, and we'll put up the list of the others who are part of this list of people, including some women, including a Latino, including, John Kerry, including Linda Thomas Greenfield for U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. How difficult do you think it will be, even with this high caliber of talent, for the rest of the world to take the United States, not so much Joe Biden himself, but to take the United States seriously after Trump?
Well, this is a very serious cabinet. That is the message that President-elect Biden is sending with this message. And he could not have picked better names in each and every one of these spots. He's basically telling the rest of the world, we are back. This is our A-team. These are hands that you all know, people who have led before in really crucial times on a global scale. And we are taking our role back as leader of the free world and the greatest democracy on the face of the earth. So he has sent a very strong message to the rest of the world that America is back and that, they're real serious people back in business again.
And, you've talked about, and you wrote an op-ed talking about Donald Trump endangering our national security, and I think that that's clear, and particularly his attitude toward Russia. But I think for a lot of people, the worst foreign policy is sort of a related disaster has been Donald Trump's handling of migration, and the fact that he and his administration took possession of thousands of children, some 600 of whom have not been returned to their families. What do you think is the significance of Alejandro Mayorkas, who would not only be the first Latino to hold the role, but helped develop DACA?
I think it's very significant because he can be the one to say, listen, we will welcome people who seek refuge. We will stand firm against those people who seek to do harm to the United States, but we will not turn away people who are seeking refuge into the United States. And we will do everything that we can to finally reunite these children with their missing parents. I have great hope for the future of our country with this Biden cabinet so far as it has been nominated.
And there's also the issue of the Middle East, where you've had Jared Kushner, who has business interests that make him, I think, a very inappropriate person to have been in charge, not to mention his inexperience. While Jared Kushner was working out a peace deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians, his companies, the Kushner Company's Charitable Foundation, was funding settlements. You have Mike Pompeo going through and meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. They met in secret with Pompeo on Sunday morning. He's been trying to put facts on the ground that would bar Palestinians from really having anything, let alone a state, and trying to make those facts permanent so that Biden can't change them. Are you worried that those things will be hard to undo?
I'm not worried that those things will be hard to undo, but frankly, my greatest concern is America's national security, and that includes the national security of Israel. And when you have serious people come to the table who will negotiate, who have the appropriate background, as Mr. Bilkin does, I have great confidence that our national security will be safeguarded. Now, that said, we have to send a message to both our allies and our adversaries around the world that they can't take advantage of the inexperience of the team that America put forward, like they did under the Trump administration. And certainly that the United States is not for sale the way it was under the Trump presidency.
Well, hear to that, and hopefully we'll be back in the Iran deal and things. It's normal policy coming back. I do want to do one domestic policy thing with you, though, because as a woman of color yourself who made history in your own way, in so many ways, the idea of Deb Holland maybe being Interior Secretary, who would be the first indigenous person to hold such a role, do you, as I do, root for something like that? I think that would just be such a huge message to send to the world about us if that were to happen. What do you think about her running Interior?
Oh, I think that any role that we can elevate our members of our First Nation is a great one. I think she would be fantastic at Interior. But I also think that there are any number of members of the First Nations who could hold any number of roles. Remember that it's not about just one person. We have to fill government. There's a lot of empty seats right now because the Trump administration failed so miserably at actually putting people into jobs to help the American people. And so we have lots of positions that need to be filled. And I know that the Biden folks are looking to make that as diverse as possible. And Deb Holland is just one of many more who are coming.
I think there are a lot who would like to see you in that administration as well. I won't try to pin you down on that. But Senator Tammy Duckworth, thank you so much for being here. People have talked about you being in there as well. Thank you so much. That is tonight's Reid Out.